Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chicago Communicator News Media On Point. And tonight we're on point with the young advocates. We have our young advocates is Arthur and Maddie. They helped me and Andrea work. Andrea really worked on the case, and she had them as her employees help with that. And I just thought that I'd like for them to come on and tell us a little bit about themselves and what they learned from the case, and help to educate everybody about what's going on in the city of Chicago.
Sure. So my name is Arthur. I work for Andrea Rayla, who you had on your show many years ago. That's how I got involved in this case after your interview. And you were telling Andrea about this problem with this property. She came to me, must have been the morning after or something, and said, hey, here's everything that I've been able to find and get from Wanda. And I need you to try and piece together just what happened here. And it's been about a little under a year, I would say. Since I've been involved in this particular case.
You know, the case, boy, I mean, I was struggling with what to do for so many years. And then one day I said to Anthony, I need some help with this property. I don't know what to do. I'm just lost, you know. And he says, oh, call Andrea Rella. I said, Andrea Rella? He said, yeah, call Andrea Rella. And I called Andrea, and she listened to me. This busy woman running this major operation, she listened to me, and then she said, I'll get back with you. And I was like, wow, she actually heard my prayer. Thank you, Andrea. And then she brought these beautiful young people on, and they did the work. I mean, when they came up that timeline, I was just, man, headed down to the T. Maddie, tell us who you are and introduce folks to your wonderful skill set.
Hello, my name is Maddie. I'm an administrative assistant and technical writer who works with Arthur and Andrea. I got brought onto this case a little bit later. I am responsible for some of the projects that stray away from strictly property taxes at the firm. And so when I heard about this zombie foreclosure case, Andrea came to my desk and said, hey, this is something that will affect our clients in that it affects the city of Chicago at large. And it's a very interesting case that kind of exemplifies some of the issues with current practices and current legislation. There's an administrative hearing on Thursday. Would you like to come to it? And would you like to write something about it? And I said, yes, absolutely. And so I bothered Arthur about what this case is about because it's very complicated and there's a lot of material. And I took the frantic chicken scratch that is my handwriting to make all the notes that I could as you and the attorneys and the judges talked. And I've done my best to keep up and make sure that I am as informed as possible.
Oh man, you know, you two, you three have just been a blessing to me. And as I wrote my article about you, I thought to myself, I said, you know, I know the Lord has answered my prayers because I've got to meet Andrea and I got to meet you all. And Anthony, I can't leave you out of the kudos because
yes,
if you had not said, call Andrea, I never would have known or met her. And so I really want to thank you.
Well, let me say this. I met Andrea a while back running for public office. And I want everybody to know that this woman, this beautiful woman.
Yes, she is. She's great.
Is straightforward, down to earth.
Yes.
And she's someone that we can all gravitate towards.
Yes.
And walk with her.
Yes.
Because she's true blue. She's the real deal.
She is the real deal.
She's the real deal, folks. And when you think about And when you think about black and white people working together,
yes,
we're supposed to do that.
yes.
Dr. King said, either we're going to work together in this society or we're going to perish like fools.
Come on now.
Okay. And so we have to learn that we're all in this together. Some of us came over here on different boats.
Yeah.
But we're all in the same boat now.
We're all in the same boat now.
Okay.
And I wanna say thank you too to Mark Brown from the Sun Times and the other gentleman. Let me see. What was his name, Andrew? The Channel 7 guy.
I believe that would have been Jason Knowles.
Oh, Jason Knowles. Yes.
He came out and walked on the ground of the property with me. It's not even a building there anymore. And the attorney,
Mario Reed,
that young brother, I just sat back in awe as he talked to the judge. I was like, look at here. Look at our young people. You guys are going to be running this country, this world. And look, Andrea is passing the mantle on and showing you how to do it the right way, the legal way. Get out. Look, anything I can do to help you, I'm there. I'm there. Let's start doing some columns there. You guys put the word out there. Tell people what they need to know about what's going on in the city of Chicago. Property tax. It's up to us, guys, to make people aware of what's going on. They don't know. I didn't know. I have a doctorate in adult education, and guess what? I couldn't even buy a piece of property without sending myself into bankruptcy. Oh, Lord, just because you have a degree doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to work in the industry that you're trying to work in. I didn't know how to buy property. I would never buy another piece of property without an attorney and without talking to Andrea, because see, this lady know everything. I'm just so proud of her. I'm so glad I know her.
Wanda,
told her about everything.
Wanda, where do I send that check now?
You called the right thing.
Well, mine can't pay for that publicity.
This is a good segue for Arthur and Maddie to start their introduction. I think they're going to have something that quickly up-to-dates us.
Okay, Arthur, you want to go?
Sure. I'd first like to preface everything that Maddie and I are going to talk about tonight by saying that we are not lawyers. Maybe in the future, fingers crossed, who knows? But we are not lawyers. And so while I would not take everything said here as legal advice or anything really, the first step you should take, you said it yourself, Wanda, if you're going to buy a piece of property, if you're looking to contest ownership years later, you really should try and find a lawyer who can help you deal with this particular issue. And I would say, though, that while finding a lawyer is important here, there are things that you can do as a regular person to better understand why am I getting these fines and all these strange notices for a house that I may have moved out of 5, 10, 15. It's almost 15 years now, Wanda.
Yes.
And for that reason, I'm going to share my screen and just show one particular website that I think can be exceptionally helpful here. And that is the Cook County Recorder of Deeds website.
Okay.
So I hope you can see my screen. You'll notice there's a Karen A. Yarbrough, Cook County Clerk's office in the upper left corner. You can find this website by looking for Cook County Recorder of Deeds in a search engine. And this is the portal to search for properties and deeds. The first option here, you just click on the image. That'll take you to the search site. And if you don't mind, Wanda, especially because we're talking about your case so much here, would it be all right if I entered your property here?
Absolutely, please. Just take it away.
Give me just one moment.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and enter the parcel identification number for your property, Wanda. And for those of you who may not know the intricacies of the recorder's office. Basically, if there is a deed that you need to file to take ownership of a property, or someone wishes to file a lien against you, or if you have some other outstanding issue that you need recorded, that is what the recorder of deeds office will allow you to do. And so I've entered your parcel identification number for those who may be wondering, well, what is my parcel identification number? I know the address.
Yeah.
You would be best off looking at a recent tax bill, your second installment tax bill or your first. It'll usually tell you exactly what the parcel identification number or numbers are. And if you'll notice here, and if you look to the left here, you'll notice that there is a little spreadsheet of documents that have been recorded on this particular property, which is Wanda's former property. You'll notice there's recently been an affidavit and a release sign. There was a warranty deed filed by Mario Reed to try and take Wanda's name off of the property. And so if you are wondering, well, I recall that I did a deed in lieu of foreclosure as Wanda did. And you're wondering, well, I thought that was supposed to happen. What happened here? Well, one of the things you can do is go back here. You'll notice here that since I think 2004 is when you bought the property. If you go to the page, there's pages at the bottom that you can choose. And this will usually go back to, I think 1985 is the latest you can go back. See here, there's a mortgage signed in 2001, but it's until 2004. You can see Wanda's name up here when the property becomes hers. Well, one of the things that happened is there was supposed to be a deed in lieu of foreclosure, 4 or 5 years later as part of the proceedings. But if we look in 2008 and 2009, you'll notice that there's no further deed listed. There's nothing returning the property to the bank, in spite of the arrangement you were supposed to make. So if you're a homeowner who's dealing with this problem, I would highly recommend that you at least take a look at the Recorder of Deeds' website and just make sure that the deed went through. And if it doesn't, if it's a recent thing, that may be something where you need to call the mortgage company because they are not obligated to do it as soon as humanly possible. And it may just be they're taking their sweet time doing it. But in your case, Wanda, if it's been so many years, that's a really good way to say, hey, 2009, there's supposed to be a deed. Where is it? And that's really the first step, I think, where if you can find out about sort of what's been going on with your property in the Recorder of Deeds website, you can at least get some understanding of what's been going on in the years since you vacated a home. This was a valuable resource for me when I was doing my research on this case to try and figure out just what happened to you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Anthony.
My question to the young people is how soon should we reach out for help if we follow proper procedures and nothing goes the way it's supposed to do? So when should we reach out for help?
So, not a lawyer. I would say if it's been 6 months to a year and you're noticing that there's all sorts of weird fines coming your way, or if you go on the Recorder of Deeds website and you look for your property and you notice that a deed is missing, I would highly recommend that you talk to the mortgage company or a lawyer and make sure that you are getting everything done so you're not stuck with this house like Wanda is.
So this clip is going to be from the ABC7 press release that the I-Team did covering Wanda's case. So it'll go into kind of a brief history of what happened, where we're kind of at now, and a little bit about the nature of what a zombie foreclosure is.
Thank you.
Zombie foreclosures. A homeowner thinks the foreclosure is a done deal. They move out and move on. Instead, the homeowner ends up being on the hook for thousands in municipal fines.
They should definitely forgive the fines because it's not my property.
Wanda Carter walks through a now vacant lot that used to be her home. The bank started the foreclosure process on her home in 2008. 14 years later, you're still on the hook.
I'm still on the hook for this property. That doesn't even make sense.
She and her attorney say she's fighting roughly $44,000 in City of Chicago fines issued after Carter thought she was no longer responsible for the home.
It's like a chain around my neck. I can't seem to get rid of it.
She was unaware that the city of Chicago was charging her for all of these violations. She was unaware that she was even still the owner, according to the legal record. Chicago demolished the building and charged the homeowner $31,000 for doing so. The city of Chicago fined the homeowner more than 30 different times for uncut weeds, rat harborage, any number of different expenses.
How can this happen after a foreclosure? Carter's attorney, Mario Reed, formerly an attorney for the Cook County Recorder of Deeds office, blames it on what's known as zombie foreclosures. This is when the homeowner thinks the property is foreclosed on and out of their name, but the banks fail to transfer the deed into the bank's name after homeowners like Carter hand over the deed. Reed says in some cases, lenders decide they don't want the burden of reselling a property in a struggling neighborhood.
Right now, we have a caseload of over 10 different clients who have experienced this or are on the verge of experiencing this.
Carter's lender, DB Structured Products, is a subsidiary of Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche, that's them.
City of Chicago says its records show that the deed is in Carter's name, making her responsible for the debt. However, Reed provided the I-team with this document showing he was able to get the deed into the bank's name in February of 2022. That, Reed believes, will eventually clear Carter of the debt when they attend an upcoming administrative hearing.
I was told that I was no longer responsible for the property. It was theirs.
Vanessa Jones, also a client of Reed's, is dealing with a similar battle with an investment property in suburban South Holland.
I just found out about it, and it's pretty scary.
After facing foreclosure, she provided a bank with her deed in lieu of foreclosure in 2008, but the bank never recorded the deed in its name. Jones now owes more than $90,000 in village nuisance funds after she thought the property was no longer hers.
It's a large amount of money that is potentially extremely catastrophic for me and my family.
Jones's lender is no longer in business and was dissolved after another bank bought its parent company. But the IT was able to get answers from the village of South. A village attorney told me they're willing to work with Jones to get the debt out of her name if she transfers the property ownership to the village of South Holland. Still, the stress has taken its toll.
For me, it's unnerving. I will say that since I found out, I have not slept very well.
The village of South Holland and the attorney in our story are hoping that potential legislation will require banks to move deeds in their names in these situations. If you are facing foreclosure, make sure you check records and verify that the deed has been transferred into the bank's name. Robbie Sherrill, experts say you should not leave the property until that is done.
All right. Oh, thank you. Man, that was so informative. I mean, I wanted to be on TV, but I didn't want to be on TV talking about no property.
Let me ask this question, Wanda.
Yes, sir.
After listening to that, after watching that video, 30 days, 60 days. So are the legislators, have they put forth legislation to fix this problem, or are we still waiting? And who's sponsoring the legislation?
Now you asking me or you asking them?
I'm asking anybody.
Oh, well, I know you ain't asking me, but okay, no, I don't know.
Do anybody know who's sponsoring the legislation?
Not off the top of my head.
As of yet, there is no legislation that's been passed, and I don't know who would be sponsoring it.
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
This is Lavette. This is very informative, and especially, not so much as for those that are victims, I'm quite sure that the reveal is very heartwarming to know, that there's some possibilities of relief. but it also seems to really emphasize to those that this kind of thing can happen. And because so many people don't know or didn't know how it happened, it seems as though this can be an issue that is presented to those that are running for office, for them to make this an issue that helps in relieving anyone who's being duped by these banks. You know, how dare they hurt the smallest people when, you know, especially a bank like Deutsche Bank, who's been in the media for all the billions and billions of dollars that they've loaned other people, and, you know, to do this to a small, you know, unsuspecting resident. You know, it seems as though it should be written and put in front of politicians that may have a say in the matter, you know, bringing them on the show and asking them, what do you know about zombie foreclosures? Did you know that it was a systemic predatory situation that is harming the least of them? So, yes. And I think because no one really is saying anything about is there legislation, then that's something that we as a media can bring to the attention of those that are running. It's like put a document right in the front of them.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, Andrea, who do we know who is on the housing committee or for the state? Do we know who we can go to and ask to drafts? Should we draft the legislation? I have no clue how to do it, but I know
I think that you can do legislation through the city. The city could pass an ordinance that says that any mortgage company and bank, they foreclose, they must file a deed within 60 days or they get fined. That needs to go through the city council. That needs to be embraced by the mayor. The housing department head is the 48th Ward, Harry Osterman, but he's not running again. So you could get something strong in a ordinance from the city, but then you have to go to the state and you need a sponsor from the state to say the state mandates that these mortgage companies must file that deed. And you can get anyone. We've had Emil Jones represent us with our foreclosure compulsory a law that we're trying to still pass in the veto session. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I think that Anthony knows a lot of legislators. You do too, Wanda. I know Lavette does too. We need to ask them to pass a statute that protects us from these predatory processes.
I'm game. What say you, Anthony, Lavette?
I think the other thing too, when I talked to Reuben and we had you to hook up with Alderman Sawyer, those aldermen should take some heat for this as well.
Yeah, I did talk to Alderman Sawyer about the situation.
Yes.
And, but I don't know that he ever did anything. You know,
well,
I did
apparently
bring it to his attention, but
apparently not.
Yeah.
You still struggling with this issue.
Come on now, come on.
Okay.
Come on.
So these
yes.
Well, he's running for mayor.
Yes.
This isn't an issue that should be brought to his attention.
Well, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Any other suggestions? Maddie, you got any suggestions?
Well, one thing that got brought up when we were talking with Attorney Reed after your hearing is that the city doesn't have an incentive to make this process transparent, especially when it comes to getting rid of properties in low-income and disadvantaged communities, because one, they can infinitely fine you based on things that happen to your property, and two, the impact that it has on the bank businesses, the title industry, but these really big entities that have a lot of sway in government have a lot of stake in allowing zombie foreclosures to be a thing. Something that's interesting about the foreclosure mortgage litigation is that unlike a lot of other types of litigation, the judgment that happens in court doesn't actually end the process. There are a lot of post-judgment steps like waiting for redemption, the sheriff auction, getting the deed recorded that actually happen after the judgment has already been made. And that's really where stuff becomes zombie foreclosures and when stuff slows down and can stall. And so because there's not any legislation that either allows judges to step in and make sure that the process gets completed or penalizes banks or other lenders for not getting the deed transferred into their name, these kinds of things happen and so can spiral out of control. And so because there's not that incentive for the city to fix something, there needs to be a lot of advocacy for that kind of legislation to either be put in place or to hold lenders accountable for the decisions they make. And so people like you don't end up thousands of dollars in debt for things that aren't your problem anymore.
Wow. Advocacy. Yes. So we need to, like you have done, Anthony and Andrea, with the property tax advocacy. Yeah. I guess I need to start an advocacy on zombie foreclosures. Zombie foreclosures. I mean foreclosures. I'm sorry. I meant foreclosures. Yeah.
Wanda?
Yes.
Wanda.
Yes.
I have a question. I'm like, okay, I don't even know, and I don't want to be putting your business out there, but your foreclosure was really different because you actually did a Chapter 7. And when Maddie was just talking about this, there are rules and regulations with regard to the city and anybody else coming after you for a payment for something that has already gone through that court system. And again, that in the city of Chicago, just like all other vendors, creditors, they get a list which includes the information and the number of that person that filed bankruptcy, regardless of what type it is. So it's almost like they were just disregarding the information that they received. It wasn't a simple, oh, we're going to go foreclose, and you didn't have a remedy in place or something to, you hadn't taken appropriate action to, again, to deal with this from a legal standpoint. They just seem to be disregarding the law, and there is a penalty already in place for institutions that do that, to include the banks. So that's why I'm a little confused.
Well, what do you know that information? Can you share that information? You could
actually go out there, like Thomas Vaughn is the district. What is that? This is district 7 for bankruptcy court. And if you go on that page and they tell you, you can pull up what they can and cannot do to you once you've filed and once you've even gone through the formal process, to include once it's been discharged. They get penalties. I mean, they get penalized for real for taking actions when they know you have already filed and the city knew you had filed.
But
that's
Sandra,
the crazy part of all of this.
But Sandra, the dilemma here is that we do not have aldermans understanding this process. We do not have aldermen who stand up for the people.